Hey, Grace, thank you so much for joining our summit.
Thank you so much for having me again, Leslie. I love being here.
It's always a pleasure to chat with you. For those of the summit participants that don't know about you, can you tell a little bit about your background and what you do?
Yes, I would love to. So I am a clinical pharmacist by trade, and I've been trained by the IFM and various peptide companies like Seeds and also A4M, which are anti-aging groups, regenerative medicine groups. I'm a regenerative medicine practitioner, and I also lecture and teach about all aspects of the gut microbiome, peptides, bioregulators, and all the hacks that we do to extend our lifespan and our health.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think this can be so interesting. So the topic that I know we're going to chat about in today's discussion is GLP-1, otherwise known as the umbrella for Ozempic.
Yes.
Which is so trendy. Everyone's talking about this. So I guess just starting out, what is your perspective on what is it? Maybe people don't even know what it is. What is it? And what's your point of view on this?
Right, exactly. So, many years ago, Byetta, the first xanthanide, also known as xanthanide, the first GLP-1 came out, which stands for glucagon-like peptide. And it came from the Gila dragon lizard. And because it was so different from human GLP-1, it had a lot of side effects. People hated it. It was very short acting as well. And people had to inject it twice a day sometimes. And they didn't make a longer acting formula until much later. And the reactions were terrible because it wasn't homologous to our human GLP-1 like pathway. And what these are agonists. So that means they fit our receptors and they will make their action by fitting in well to the receptor and turning it on, not turning it off, turning it on. They're an agonist, not an antagonist. And Byetta, because it came from a lizard, it would cause autoimmune reactions, rashes, all sorts of side effects. And, it didn't work out too well. Although, when people did have good results, they had good results. They had satiety, sometimes to the point of nausea and vomiting, but they lowered their blood sugars, even lost weight. But then fast forward, years later, Ozempic came out. They found this was first studied, is also a generic, the name is semaglutide. They were first studying it, using it in dementia, believe it or not. It would help reverse brain damage. And I used to have a brain injury from a bike accident and a fall. I was in a mini triathlon doing way too much keto, doing endurance training, and I got tired and bonked my head coming off the bike. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. My helmet kind of fell off. So I'm not a fan of endurance training plus keto, or not even much keto anymore after my experience and hearing other people's stories and things. Anyway, semaglutide, also known as Ozempic, came out. It has virtually no side effects at low dose, helps a lot of weight loss and satiety and versus brain damage, including mold toxicity, which is very similar to brain damage on an fMRI. And lo and behold, it also reverses viral diseases. People on it don't get COVID as much or long haul by 83% in one study. And it boosts our natural killer cells and a lot of other immune functions. So literally people just have lower pain or no chronic pain when they're on it. If they have chronic pain, they have lower immune hyperreactivity, allergies, food allergies even. They even heal a lot of their gut. Some of the studies coming out show it really actually helps the microbiome, just like what we do, a prebiotic or probiotic would do, or symbiotic.
Really? I've never heard that before.
Yeah. At higher doses or in people predisposed who have slow motility, also known as gastroparesis clinically, they may get more gastroparesis because they're now eating less. If they're not focusing on fiber and flora, they are going to have their gut, right? And some people get off the drug and they still have gastroparesis, which is very sad, right? The drug may have triggered some of that. But at lower doses, even microdoses, like 100, 200, 300 micrograms versus 2 milligrams, 3 milligrams, which is more of a typical diabetes reversal dose or obesity lose weight dose, those are very effective. But what studies show is within a year or two, when people are off the medicine, they regain all their weight. Literally 60, 70, 100% of all the weight. And all the cardiac protective measures like hemoglobin A1C, blood pressure, high sensitivity, C-reactive protein, CRP, they all go back to baseline. which is really sad for people, depressing, right? You lose all this great weight, you buy new clothes, you feel great even, but you may feel tired and you may not be exercising because you're kind of in medically induced anorexia, right? And then
Yeah.
you take the drug for whatever reason, or you get tired of injecting, and then bam, all the weight comes back. Annoying and depressing. And it's terrible. Now you've gone through yo-yo dieting. You've probably screwed up your adrenals, screwed up your hormones. I hear all the time women lose their period. And you're not doing it right. Your doctor's ODing you,
Yeah.
to your body, and you're probably not exercising, you're not eating well, and you're not eating all your macros, and you're not eating, and you've ignored the gut even further. You're not doing fiber or flora appropriately, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's
Right.
it's literally a miracle on the spectrum of actually pharmaceuticals, I have to say. Yeah.
You're a fan.
When it's used appropriately and people aren't screwing their metabolism up with yo-yo dieting, it is a
Yes.
and some of these people on it, including me, have tried everything, and they've never seen a pound or an ounce of weight loss. They've even gained weight doing keto or low calorie diet or even exercise. They're seeing no shift in their fat adipose mass, so it's sad, it's depressing for these. So this might be the first time for a lot of clients, it's actually their first time they've started to get healthier
Wow.
in almost like an almost ridiculously easy way.
Wow. Okay. And then you were talking about like low dose or micro dosing and what the benefits are of that. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, some doctors have talked about this, and there are a couple low dose studies when I pulled them, and they're great. They have virtually no side effects and really wonderful improvements in all kinds of outcomes: metabolic, fat loss, even lower improved immune cells. So there are a couple, people who have talked about it. And what low dose and microdose means that it's not the pharmaceutical dose that is FDA indicated for diabetes reversal or for obesity. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the typical dose is 2.4 milligrams of Ozempic a week, or for diabetes, it goes up even as much as 3 milligrams. And partially this is because there's GLP-1 resistance at the receptor level. You have to do a higher dose if someone's been really overweight for a long time. I used to be morbidly overweight.
Really?
Maybe hard. Yeah. Most of my teens, childhood, 20s, I was really heavy. I was like 50 pounds higher fat than this.
Wow. I cannot imagine that.
Yeah, and actually for a period after my babies were born, I might have been 60 pounds more.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was one of those that gained 70, 80 pounds with each pregnancy because I just ate whatever. And with the first pregnancy, I started running again, and I lost it all and more because I was also off birth control. Birth control caused me to gain 20, 30 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Control is horrible for women. No one should be on birth.
Yeah.
You're drinking municipal water and you don't filter it, you're getting birth control. Hello.
That came up in a prior summit speaker for this event about just the runoff in our public water systems of birth control.
Yeah, and so it's frustrating for people trying to lose weight. There are so many obesogenic drugs, heavy metals, municipal pharmaceuticals, and chemicals and pesticides in our water supply that make us morbidly overweight. It
Yeah.
is frustrating as crazy. So I do hear, people are at their wits' end. They've tried many, many things. And if they've done like what I've done, they've gone through yo-yo dieting and you've kind of messed up your metabolism a bit more than average even, and it's even harder to get out of that, and the hormones are jacked up. Yeah. So low dose just means a fraction of that. It's literally a tenth of that, maybe a fifth of that. So it's 100 micrograms a week or 200 micrograms a week, 300 micrograms a week. And the drug's so safe, we do it once a week, 4 doses, 4 little jabs in subcutaneous fat a month. And sometimes I encourage people skip a week, just see where you are. Is your hunger naturally going down? Is your satiety naturally raising? We have many ways naturally to raise GLP-1 pathways. One is fiber. Fiber fills us up. Mechanically, it will make our stretch receptors say, oh, we're full. So that it works. Second, it's turning on good flora that sends signals, chemical signals to our body and brain. We're full and we have high satiety. So when I don't do my fiber shake, I'm kind of like a little hungrier sometimes on those days. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what I did my talk on fiber and how you can start starting like liquid before lunch. Start with a fiber-rich smoothie, and it can be
Exactly. Or your drink. I love your drink. It's
yes.
beautiful and it tastes so yummy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fiber is so important for that too. So can GLP-1 then help with fat loss? And I mean, it does, but like, how does it compare to traditional methods? And this summit is really focused on kind of overall holistic wellness. How do you see something like this fitting into that sort of a lifestyle?
Absolutely. As I always encourage people, especially if they're working with me, kind of have a mental contract, like you're going to do all the holistic things with this. Otherwise, don't sign up. You're going to see, depression when you get off it, because you can't be on this forever. The drug companies may want you on it forever, but you really don't want it to be on it forever. You're going to lose your vitamins. If you're on too high of a dose, you're going to lose your muscles if you're not working out regularly, right? You may even hurt your gut, like the problem I mentioned earlier with gastroparesis and slowing motility. So holistic ways are the best way to go. So I run a little group. It's called our GLP-1 Circle app group. And I always encourage people to do the holistic things, which is get your macros in at every meal. Eat small, frequent meals, 3 or 4 small, frequent meals. Keep your blood sugars and insulin's level. Fix your insulin resistance. Fix your leptin resistance by doing that. So by doing 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, we fulfill a lot of that to bring insulin sensitivity up. And so by all macros, I mean get fat and fiber, get your flora in, even probiotics and fermented foods with your complex carbs, which is whole grains, whole lentils and legumes, and your protein and veggies. And half the plate should be veggies, and then a quarter plate protein, and a quarter the carbs, complex carbs.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And if you start your day that like that, I don't believe in intermittent fasting excessively. That's another way of saying like starvation. And it sends hoarding signals to the body like, hey, we don't get energy. We're going to hold everything in no matter what you do. Right. So we want to send these abundant signals, and these abundant signals will heal the adrenals. Anyone who's dealing with over fat issues, their adrenals are a little impaired. They're burnt out, stressed out. So we got to nurture and be very tender with those adrenals. No extremes, no keto, no cutting out any macro part of your diet. Try not to be vegetarian. If you cut out protein too much, you're going to lose more of your muscles and you will get fat.
Interesting. So the protein's so important, and whether you're on GLP-1 or not.
Whether you're on GLP-1 or not. For longevity, the second we start losing our protein, it's called sarcopenia, we start premature aging. And I look at often they'll have like cardiovascular disease, terrible guts despite all the fiber they're eating. They may struggle with different addictions. They've switched one thing to another to carb heavy, vegetarian diet. And they're just gorging on, dairy instead, or nuts. And they're allergic to all of it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Good to know. So you see it as fitting in somewhat into this lifestyle. It just gives you a little bit of an added impact.
Yeah, they're not, knowing that you don't have to be committed to it forever, and that you're not going to be committed to it forever, and try all the natural ways, which is our ancestral ways of living, to raise your natural GLP-1, which is eating farm to table, high fiber foods, right, that grow out of the earth. So that's like half your plate should be plants and animals grown really healthy, organic, grass-fed, heirloom, right?
Yes.
Heirloom pork, heirloom chicken, organic and pastured chicken, pork, beef, bison, goose, duck, chicken, and eggs that are natural, not not problematic with antibiotics. Antibiotics and the glyphosate and pesticides that all of us are exposed to is just terrible.
Yeah.
Good microbiome. So no wonder we don't make GLP-1 anymore.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah. It does feel like a lot of the things that we're recommending people do are like trying to get back to the way it used to be.
Yeah, and that's why I really promote our probiotic. We have 2, Bifido Maximus and Microbiome Mojo. Studies show both in animals and humans, as soon as they take the species that are in these, Bifidobacterium longum, lactis, Bifidobacterium infantis, we start to lose weight. But the problem is, I do testing on people. No, people have negligible amounts of these species. That's sad. That's ridiculous. They're depleted like a bankruptcy. So as we start gradually getting these back in and feeding them with inulin and whole grain fiber and whole grain lentils and legumes, they have a very rich fiber in them. They're inulin based, FOS, GOS, and especially lentils and legumes, but all grains also as well. They're part of the bran of the seed. Yeah.
Interesting. That was kind of leading to that next question I had about like the types of foods that would naturally support this function in the body. And are they similar or different from foods that we should just be eating anyway?
Exactly. Yeah, they're underground tubers as well. Like in China, we have these like gooey taro and other and konjac root, but every ethnicity has some kind of tuber, including potatoes. If you know, these are cooked resistant starches. I would never eat them raw. We never ate raw tubers, they would kill us. So always have to be cooked. And when we eat a meal, if we eat acidity, because often if we don't make GLP-1, our gut flora is hampered. They're not signaling acid production. So we got to bring in a little bit of acid. Like I like to drink warm water with a little lemon juice, but in our meals, if you're having good acidity with a salad, you're getting, or fermented foods with a lot of acidity, you're making cooked starches like different tubers and whole grains and beans. The acidity switches these starches. Instead of having a glycemic load impacting our blood glucose and insulin risk, they're making them into resistant starch type 3, which feeds all the good flora like these that protect our body and make GLP-1.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Got it. So that's helpful. Those things seem like things that people can kind of work into their diet pretty easily here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. It actually tastes really good to have like a little apple cider vinegar in water. It tastes like a little alcoholic mocktail, non-alcoholic mocktail. Sorry.
That's so funny. I've had someone tell me that they take their apple cider vinegar with vitamin E's immune support. They said if you mix them together, it's like a nice.
Yeah, it tastes amazing, and they don't have to be refrigerated, right?
No.
Yeah, so that's the beauty. You can have it anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, so someone told me that they do take their apple cider vinegar with the immune support, and it somehow like the flavor goes together. But I could see that kind of like tartness being almost like a mocktail.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
And also, you can also get bougie. There's white balsamic vinegar, and often now some companies like Amphora and others, they flavor it. You can get elderberry or blood orange or honey something. So honey lemon or something. So we have ways that we can get our acidity in until we start making it on our own. Some of our clients, if they've got issues, we have them on betaine HCl, which is acid, and some digestive enzymes. But often because we're healing the gut within a month, 4 weeks or less, doing fiber and doing good probiotics that our gut needs, like ours are maltodextrin free, which is a known gut damage factor. And these are strep free and yeast free. These are all problematic species for people with gut issues. These are the safest kind of to take. So if we heal the gut, we don't need acid and enzyme supplements, for very short period of time, because your body should make it on its own.
Yeah. So interesting. So what kind of people would you recommend look into this? Like who would benefit from this?
So anyone who doesn't have a Bristol 4 stool, okay, so that means your stool should look perfectly round serpents and shouldn't streak the bowl. They shouldn't float. They shouldn't be greasy. They should like sink to the bottom nicely. Okay, and if you don't have that, or if you have any kind of gut issues, if you deal with any kind of chronic illness, you have gut issues. That's what studies show. There's dysbiosis going on. You don't have the flora that should be there, that all healthy people have. And instead, there's a bunch of yeast. There's a bunch of potentially mold. There's a bunch of strep. There's a bunch of gram-negative pathogens. There's also usually parasites. There's usually sometimes co-infections like Lyme and Borrelia, Vanilla, Babesia, and others. So anyone dealing in viral overgrowth. So I see a lot of chronic activation of Epstein-Barr and cytomegalovirus. We check for it. It's a very easy blood test. Everyone's got it.
Ugh.
If you're dealing with any kind of chronic illness like brain fog, body fat, fatigue issues, we help people reduce this in 6 months or less. Or if we add peptides in, these are little injections or pills. We can do both. It's half the time, 3 months or less.
Got it. Okay. Wow. So interesting. So if you don't have any like chronic gut problems, chronic diseases, if your poops look healthy,
Yeah,
then you can be a good fit.
right. Yeah, you're really super good to go. I'm only like that if I'm on vacation, like super low stress and still taking fiber and probiotics daily. You know, I'll be there. But you know, we all have things that are coming up, and
Yeah, there's
yeah,
always something,
yeah,
but
something.
very interesting. Well, thank you for sharing your point of view. It's certainly a hot topic, so it's great to learn more about it. If people are interested in learning more about you or your business or getting your advice, where would you suggest they find you?
Absolutely. They can reach out to our email. It's on thegutinstitute.com. Reach out anytime. You can call us or email us. And our products are on Amazon, as well as on our website. And we sell various peptides. Some help to raise GLP-1. I didn't really go with them. That's a whole nother topic. But these do raise GLP-1 naturally. And the more the better, especially if you feed them with proper prebiotics, fiber.
Great. Thank
Yes.
you so much. It was great talking to you.
See, this is so fun.
Bye.